Rob Purvis, man, I love to talk baseball with you. I know you spent 7 years as a professional pitcher. I got to know, man, was there ever a time when you went on the mound and you just couldn't find the strike zone?
I had a few of those actually, and what's crazy about that is the when you're out there, how fast it goes by. You're out there for 25 minutes. You got everybody and their brother yelling at you, tell how awful you are, and you can't get find the strike zone. And next thing you know, you got 5 runs, and it feels like it went by in 12 seconds. And it's one of those things where I didn't really realize until after I was done. It's about slowing the game down. And the guys that play the best have the best of what they've done. The Greg Maxes, even the Tony Gwynns. I don't care what side of the mound you're on, hitting or pitching. The guys that can slow the game down and have that happen to them the least have the most success. When you're out there and that's happening to you, it is a very helpless feeling because you're out there competing, giving everything you have, and at the end of the day, some nights you just don't have it. But to me, it's all about what do you do while you're out there. It's not why you are competing. Do you give up? And I don't even have those words in my vocabulary. So it may not look good, but I assure you I was getting everything I had.
So you've been on the mound enough, you've been around the game enough to know that home plate's 17 inches wide. Now, I've never stood on the mound, but I've watched a lot of ball in my time, and I see a lot of pitchers who struggle to find the strike zone. But the one thing I notice is we can send the catcher out to calm that pitcher down. Sometimes we send that batting coach out and he does a little tweak, to some of the mechanics. Sometimes the manager's got to come out and it's the end of the night for the guy and he gets an opportunity to do some more work, right, before his next start. But the one thing that we never do is we never widen the plate. The umpire never widens the plate. It always stays 17 inches wide. And I think that there's a crossover here for leadership and for the corporate world in that we never change the standard because the pitcher struggles to find it. We work on the pitcher, we don't work on the standard. We show the pitcher love, we take care of him, we pat him on the back, we try to find ways to help him find that strike zone. But the one thing we never do is we never widen the plate. And too often today, we're widening the plate.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that's part of today's problem is that we do that. We are allowing our standards to change to try to fit more people into appearing with that things are better, right? When they're not. You've got to, I'm old school where I think that if things aren't going well and if you're not getting well, you got to go back to the basics. You got to go back to working hard. You got to go back to figuring out, you have mentors, you have coaches, or if we are the mentors or we are the coaches, helping people, I always say not fall on the grenades that we fell on, right? So how do we position people to, not make the mistakes that we made? And if they did, how do we coach them to be better in the future so they see them so they don't happen without changing the standards? So because people are going to make mistakes, so you don't let them know, hey, we're going to go ahead and reward you for that mistake because we'll get them next time. No, okay, if you didn't meet the standards of what the standards were for say a bonus or whatever it is, you didn't get there. So we're not going to go ahead and give it to you. What we're going to do is we're going to coach you why you didn't get there and how the next time you're going to blow right through the next one. I think today, like I said, there's too much of the settling for mediocrity, or I use that word a lot, something I will never do, which is settle. And I think that we settle a lot for people's work because they may not have that same drive or work ethic, or as a society today, people are raised where mediocrity is okay. And I don't, and that's not everyone, but that'll never be myself or anyone that's in my circle.
I think we set a dangerous precedent when we start to let that plate grow to 17 and a half, to 17 and three quarters, to 18 inches. But in a lot of cases, we see that that's what happens. But in baseball, man, we got that umpire, and that umpire keeps that plate 17 inches wide. There's a lot of love that we can give that pitcher. We can do a lot of things to help him out. But the one thing that the umpire will never do is let that plate get wider. We got to keep that plate 17 inches wide.